this computer. Excellent. Okay, so as I mentioned in my email, this is a formula that I've been working on for very long time. I would say probably 20, 30 years, if not more. Now, of course, there will always be tweaks to this formula, and it does require practice to get the essence of the formula. But having a formula, having a recipe in hand, and then trying to make a dish is far easier than just completely doing it without any guidance. So the purpose of this presentation is not to give you every nook and cranny or every little detail of what is required, but it is to give you a broader picture so that you have some sort of a map of the direction you're taking, where you're going, where you're headed towards, to give you a broader picture. And I'm sure you've been doing all kinds of other things as well, and there's so much information on the internet that you can, any particular topic, anything you want to learn, there's a lot of information there. So the purpose of this presentation is not to give you too much of information, but to give you a broader picture. Okay, so let's get started. So 4,000 years ago, or something like that, Buddha said that the mind is the creator of everything. And we can change anything and everything through our minds. Okay. Now, quantum physics is now proving this. In the last 50 years, quantum physics has proven that everything exists, or all the energy in the universe exists in a waveform until it is observed by an observer. And then it changes into particles, meaning that the entire cosmos is built on your observation. So if there is no observer, there is no universe. And how profoundly radical this thinking is we are only slowly starting to understand the implications of this. And teachers and gurus and Buddha have been saying this for many, many centuries, but we are starting to comprehend it now, slowly and gradually. Until the time of Newton, the thinking or the thought process was that there is an objective world outside of our own self. That if we don't exist, the universe will still exist. And quantum physics has proven that to be incorrect. That the physical matter exists only if there's an observer. So if you are not there, then there is no universe. And it's going to take us some time to comprehend this fully, the truth of this, and change the way we have thought about the universe since the beginning of time, I guess. So take your time to process this in your mind, that there is no objective universe without you. You are the creator of this universe. Everything that you see in the physical world is because you exist, because you have a thought process, because you have a mind, and because of that, there is matter. Okay? And this is not spiritual or religious talk anymore. This has been proven over and over and over again by quantum physics experiments and laboratories everywhere in this world. So this is probably the most profound change the humanity is going through. I don't think there's a bigger change than this. What this next slide is saying is that we have a choice. What we choose is what we observe in the physical world. So your mind has such a tremendous role, or mind is all there is. Without the mind, without your observation, there really isn't anything. So whatever you choose to observe, whatever you choose in life is what is going to show up. So whatever you're choosing is how the universe, the material universe, is taking into shape and existence based on your choices. And this, if you correlate with all the early teachings that and what quantum physics has proven, this is a very big deal. This is changing our mindset from being a victim into being a creator. We are not victims anymore. We are creators. We are literally creating the entire universe, not just our life, the entire universe, which is your life. Take a moment to understand this, that you have a choice. You are creating it. And one of the best ways I found to get a full, deeper realization of this understanding or wisdom is to take an experience. Take an experience in your life. So take one good experience or something good in your life that has happened and just feel it. Did you make a choice for that? Were you aware and did you make a conscious choice of picking that good experience? Like, for example, for me, I was terribly unhappy in my country based on my childhood programmings and the childhood family situations that I picked. And so I chose to move to the United States, leave my family, leave my country, and get a new, fresh start. And if I look back at my life and I ask the question, was it just destiny or was it a choice that I made? And I can very clearly feel it that I made a choice. I did make a choice that I'm going to move to the land of opportunity at that time. And if I look back and I say it has been profoundly good for me. If I was in my country and in my family, I probably would have been dead long time ago. I did need to leave that place. I did need to leave my family of origin to discover myself. And it has been very useful for me. So look in your life and see what choice, big or small, that you made that turned out to be very good. And if you pay attention from an energetic standpoint, you will see the choice that you made. And it's almost as though you can rewind the energetic tape, not just the memory tape, an energetic tape, and you can feel it that, okay, I did make a choice or did not make a choice. You'll clearly see you did make a choice. And that brings to light how powerful our choices are. And if you do the same thing for even the problems that happened in your life, you will see you made a choice for that as well. Or most likely an unconscious choice, because consciously it'll be hard for us to choose something wrong or negative. In most cases, we choose, if you choose something negative, it is because we made an unconscious choice. I married my ex-wife and it was unconscious choice. I really wasn't aware of things to look for in a partner. So it was more of just, okay, this so happened kind of a thing, and went for the marriage and whatnot. And it really turned out very badly for me. Again, no fault of hers or no fault of anybody. I did make a choice, unconscious choice, but it was a choice. Anyway, so this is something you have to reflect on and go and in your meditations and time for yourself, see what choices have you made that have turned out really good or turned out really bad. Now, as a derivative of the choices that we make, you'll slowly start to see that it is forming your identity. And we have multiple identities. And based on the choices that we make, again, based on the circumstances we were born in, that we made unconscious choices that slowly turned into our identity. Your I am. This is who I am. And that is not necessarily your true, that is most likely not your true identity. It's your, what I call as karmic personality, karmic identity, karmic destiny. Because when you're little, you're simply picking up the patterns from previous lifetime and they're just repeating. So you're not making a conscious choice. It's just from the previous lifetimes that you picked it up. So we are born with a karmic identity. And we are also born with a soul identity or soul destiny. So karmic destiny and soul destiny. So in the early part of life, which depends on different people, 30, 40 years, usually people go through their initial karmic destiny. They're just replaying the tape that they picked up from previous lifetimes. And whatever was shown to them at a childhood stage, that is what they start to believe in. That's what they start to identify with. So for example, for me, I identified myself with weakness. That I'm not good enough, I'm not valuable, I'm not intelligent, I'm not this, I'm not that. It was all pretty much negative thought processes. And why? Because my mother was highly narcissistic in nature. So it was all about her. So if she didn't feel good about herself in any form and shape, you were dead meat. So I was forced to almost choose to feel bad about myself. So that is what made her feel good. That when I was looking up to her and I was praising her, that's the time she felt good about herself. So the only choice I had at that time was to feel bad about myself. That's the only way she felt good. So that became my identity, karmic identity. And as a derivative of that identity, I suffered a lot. Then at some point, when I started waking up to my soul identity, soul personality, soul destiny, then slowly, gradually, I started to see, okay, what I picked up in my early childhood years are really not true. And it starts becoming visible. The more you wake up, you start becoming aware that your initial part of your life, it was just pre-programmed stuff that is not true. And you'll start to see the goodness in you, the value in you, the intelligence in you. And it's a shift. It's a very large shift, which can take some time and it takes some work. But it's a worthwhile effort to shift from a karmic destiny to a soul destiny. And this is work. This does require work. The next important thing that I started realizing is this concept of neuroplasticity. For the longest time, science has believed that our brains and minds develop only up to a certain age, up to 20 or 30, and then after that, there is not much of a change. It's only recently that science has started to understand that our brains and the minds are growing all the time. Even from one day to the next, you're not the same. However, there's this misconception created in the mind that I'm same, I'm constant. Because we are so close to our own selves that this belief sets up that, okay, I'm the same person that was there 20 years ago. I'm the same person that was there yesterday. And that's simply not true. Especially people who are doing the self-work, that is just completely untrue. From one day to another, you're a different person. The cells of the body have changed, the minds, the neurons, the interconnections, they have all changed in a single day. So how can the identity be the same? What you are today, you're certainly not 10 years before, after what you were 10 years ago. And give yourself that freedom to change your thinking about yourself, that I'm not the same person. Other people may not see that, or other people may actually see it more than you do, but there are many people who are stuck in that mindset. And if you're in association with these people, you'll have a hard time seeing yourself as well. So it's always a good idea to dissociate with people who cannot see the change to you, the new you. And especially people who are really hardcore, hard set in their mindset that, okay, this is who you were 20 years ago and this is who you are now, there's a problem with them. And it's not useful to be with them. So let such people go and see yourself as a growing, changing human being, constantly changing. And because of this neuroplasticity, the science is now proving that within 30 days, you can dramatically change your thinking patterns. Your brain actually changes within 30 days. So use this knowledge now to change yourself into something that is more aligned to your soul destiny, is more aligned to what you want to become, rather than what you were like 30 years ago. That is simply not true anymore. So have hope and faith that you can change your life relatively quickly. If the mind can be changed within 30 days, I think even faster, then since everything is being created by the mind, you can change your life very rapidly. Of course, there can be catches in it because we are reprogramming, we are changing our belief patterns, thinking patterns. It does take some time in many cases to change the thinking. And it really depends on where you are in your spiritual journey. The more you grow, the faster the change becomes. So have faith in your growth process. Initially, it is slow, usually, not always. But as you've grown, it is not a linear change anymore. It becomes exponential. And I can tell that to you from experience. The change in my life is exponential now. Things that I took like years or decades to change, I'm able to change now within days. Okay, the next part is about ownership. Again, a very important part of the healing formula. That without ownership, you cannot change anything. So if you don't own your patterns, your issues, how would you change it? Right? It's for change to occur, change to happen, you have to know what you're changing. Just as a very crude example, you cannot sell a house that you don't even own. You can only the house that you can own is what you can sell. Or you can buy something from the money that you own. So it's very important to take ownership of everything in your life. Ownership does not mean that is who you are. That means that means where you are at this time. Who you are and where you are not necessarily the same. So if you own a house right now, it doesn't mean that that's who you are. That's where you are at this time. And you can sell the house and you can buy a new house. But you have to claim it. You have to own it. Especially at an intellectual or a mind level, emotional level. You got to own it. Okay, I'm very angry at this person at this time. If we try to suppress it, if you try to disown it, you cannot change it. The change becomes very hard by lack of ownership of whatever you're carrying at this time. I used to feel that if I take ownership for something, that would mean that this is who I am. That would mean that I'm going to own this for life. No, it's only after I own something that I can change it. And most of the stuff that we pick up is not our own anyway, own in the sense of we pick it up from our parents or ancestors. So it is a temporary thing that we got, but still we have it. It's an inheritance we got. So we have to own it at this time before we can say, I'm going to get rid of it. Now, another important point associated with this idea of ownership is that this tendency to own or disown certain aspects of our personality. what we try to own is what the society allows us to own. And we disown what the society disallows us to own. So like the example I was giving earlier on about my mother. So in the presence of my mother, I was forced almost to own a personality of pleasing others. She needed to be pleased. So I had to pick a personality of pleasing others. And I had to disown anything that I felt good about myself. I had to disown anything that helped me please my own self. Okay? So this becomes a habit over a period of time that we disown, at least in my case, I disowned the good things about me and I owned the bad things because she was projecting all the bad stuff on me. Okay? So and this became such a habit that I actually, these good things about my own self got hidden from my own self. I couldn't see them myself. It's not that I was just hiding it from others. I was hiding it from myself. I couldn't see it myself until I started awakening and saying, okay, this is not true. This is nonsense. And I started to own the good parts of me as well and own the bad parts as well so I can disown them. So both the bad and the good, we have to first take ownership. We have to account for them. You have to see what is in my storage. And then we can decide and say, okay, this is useless. This has served its purpose for whatever time it was there. And I can disown it now. And then pick the good stuff. Own the good stuff fully and completely. The next part is about 3 brains. Again, we have been programmed to believe that we've got 1 brain. Now, science is realizing and accepting that we have more than 1 brain. So the 3 brains are, of course, the 1 brain in the head, 1 brain in the heart, and 1 brain in the gut. And science is actually proving this now. So the brain in the heart has been studied for the last 30 years. You guys may have heard of this institute called Heart Math Institute based in California. And they've done a lot of research in this field. And they've found that the heart can almost independently run many functions of the body with no control from the mind, from the brain, sorry. So the heart has got an independent nervous system that can run things on its own. And what is that? That's a brain. And for the gut brain, I don't know if you guys know this, I actually just found it some time ago, that science, medical science has discovered a new organ. Believe it or not. How many times has science opened the body? Millions upon millions times they've opened the body to see what is in there. They've just discovered a new organ in the gut area, and it was discovered in 2016. And they're calling it the mesentery. And there's research being done on this, and they're finding out there's a lot of nervous system, nerves in this organ called mesentery. It's located in the gut, and it is flowing a lot of signals and the blood from this place to the various organs in the gut. How cool is that? So now we have a greater understanding that we have more than 1 brain. Now, science is also discovering that most of the chronic diseases in the body first originate in the gut. Because look at the number of vital organs that are there in that gut area. It's the feeding point for the body. You get the food in the digestive system. That's where it absorbs it and feeds the entire body. So if the gut is unhealthy, then it'll make the entire body unhealthy, just from logical standpoint. So the gut is a supremely important part of our body, which is storing so many different organs that are critical for our well-being. Now, I do a simple exercise to heal these two. So, of course, I do a lot of mental work, which is keeping the brain healthy, so to speak. There's a lot of brain exercise I do. But for healing the heart and the gut, I do something very simple, and I hope it will benefit you guys as well if you try it and see how it works for you. So I simply put my hand on my heart area, the heart chakra, not the physical heart, but the heart chakra, which is in the middle of the chest. I simply put my hand there and feel the energy flowing through from my hand and experience the emotions associated with that. It's very soothing to me. It's energizing to the heart. And I believe it makes a big difference to me. And I do the same thing with my gut. I take my hand and place it on my gut area. Feel the emotion, feel the love, feel the energy flowing from my hand into my gut area. And I would recommend that you try it. And I can do this like any time, like even if I'm, let's say, watching a movie, I can do that, right? One hand, both hands, whatever works at that time. It's very, very helpful to bring energy into those areas so that these two other brains are rejuvenated with greater degree of energy and self-love. It's essentially learning to love our own self. So see if that helps you guys. The next important point is circulation. I'm becoming more and more attuned to how important circulation is for our well-being. So we have always heard, okay, exercise is important. Yes, but how important is becoming more and more clear to me now in the last year or two. So just logically think, the blood takes the nutrients and the oxygen to every single part of the body, every single cell. How important is that? So if a particular cell is not getting enough oxygen, what will that do to the particular cell or the nutrients? So blood circulation is supremely important. And because of our sedentary nature or lifestyle in most cases, the circulation really slows down. And that starts to choke these cells from oxygen and the nutrients. And that has a tremendous effect on our mood, our emotions, and our physical well-being. There's no questions about that. So getting the circulation going from a physical blood standpoint and also from an energetic standpoint is supremely critical. So for the blood, there is this hyperlink I've given there, http://bit.ly/Mantak Chia. Mantak Chia is a master from Thailand. And this video, it's a YouTube video. He gives you a very simple exercise at the end of the video. So watch it all the way to the end. He gives a very simple exercise, physical exercise, very simple. Almost anybody can do that. It's not a rigorous yoga or something like that kind of a stuff. It's a very simple, you can even do it sitting. Do this, I try to do it at least a couple of times, if not more, during the day, because I am sitting most of the time and doing my work. And so for me, the blood circulation is very important. So I do this a couple of times a day, and it's very helpful for me. So watch this video if you can on YouTube, and you will see how beneficial. You'll have to try it for some time. And as the circulation improves, the cells of the body start to rejuvenate. The second thing that I find very useful, almost critical, is breathing. Again, because of the sedentary nature, the breathing gets off balance. And for thousands of years, teachers have said how critical it is to breathe properly, because it improves the blood circulation, and it improves the energy circulation, and it fills the blood with oxygen, which is what is going to circulate through the body. So if you don't breathe properly, even if the blood circulation is fine, and if it is not oxygenated properly, it doesn't help. And circulation, the breathing is a habit. Over a period of time, I learned, because I was always sitting most of the time. I used to work at corporate jobs where it was mostly sitting work. I picked up the bad habit of breathing incorrectly. So the breathing needs to be generally slow and deeper, and done mostly from the belly. And belly, like when you're expanding the belly like a balloon, and then you're contracting like a balloon. So breathe deeply, slowly, and through the belly. And it does require us to reprogram our breathing habit by becoming aware of it. And the more you become aware, the more you can change it. And once you have changed the habit, it's a habit, then you don't need to pay that much of attention. But you have to catch yourself breathing incorrectly. And then once you catch yourself, change it, and just the more you do it, the more your habit will change. And that is very, very useful and beneficial for the body, the mind, the emotions. In fact, I can tell you, if you change your habit even to some degree, it's hard to become unhappy. A large degree of unhappiness originates because we are not breathing properly. Okay. Next obvious topic is diet. If we put bad stuff, junk stuff in our body, it's going to affect the body. That's what the cells of the body are going to absorb. And it will affect every part of our life, from emotions to spiritual growth to physical growth, physical well-being. And it's good that there's so much about nutrition these days, diet these days. People have become awakening to the importance of diet. And there are so many different medicinal systems, and I'm not an expert in this area, but I'm sure you can read up, you can understand, you can learn about Ayurveda, which I believe is quite profound in nature. You can even do some Ayurvedic online test. We can check what your main personality type is from an Ayurvedic standpoint, and then learn about the foods that are good for you or not good for you. But generally, the body knows what it likes or it doesn't like based on its body type. You cannot depend on it completely, because if you've been eating bad stuff for a long time, you become habitual to it and you don't know the difference between good and bad. But if you start listening to the body, you will see the body is telling you what is good for it or what is not good for it. So, like, for example, in my case, whatever I was eating before, then I changed my diet to include more raw vegetables, more raw fruits. And I started to, and I actually saw some nutritionists as well who told me that raw fruits are very good for you. But then I started finding out that actually that is not completely correct. So the raw fruits were, the vegetables were okay, but raw fruits were actually not digested by my system very well. And that was completely my personal body structure. So I had to listen to myself as well, and not just listen to the nutritionist only. There was some experimentation required to see what really works for me and what doesn't. And then I started feeling much better when I started reducing the amount of raw fruit that I was eating. So that doesn't mean that I completely stopped it. I liked certain raw fruit and I didn't like certain raw fruits. So I had to listen to my body and also listen to some of these medicinal systems, which had a lot of useful information for me to even try out certain things. So diet, of course, as you have started, I'm sure you have started realizing how important it is. Meditation is the nourishment for the mind. And since you now know that mind is the creator of everything, it's creating your universe, now you know how important mind is. And there are many different kinds of meditations. The typical understanding is that you sit in a meditative position and you quieten the mind, shut the mind, and that's meditation. That's a commonly understood method of meditation. And I used to try doing that, and I failed miserably at it. And I was like working hard, like meditating 5 hours, 6 hours a day, quietening the mind, and it really didn't work for me. Until one of my teachers said that quietening your mind is poison for you because of your nature. So just like food, it may be really healthy for one person, it may be poison for another. So one type of food, like for example, like people told me avocado is wonderful for you. I found out avocado is poison for me. It can give me allergic reaction. So it's not true one thing is equally good for everybody. So that kind of meditation where I was supposed to quieten my mind was poison for me, because I use my mind to analyze, to problem solve, to come up with innovative solutions. So if I just shut my mind off, it's not beneficial for me. So then I started learning methods of meditation, which was to understand the core patterns that are causing me trouble or giving me happiness. So I was using my mind to analyze, to understand the contents of my mind and change them based on my analysis. So my only point is that there is not just one kind of meditation. There are many different kinds of meditation. You have to experiment. Just like with food, it is important to experiment with what works for you. Then life Tron healing, which many of you are probably already familiar with, it's a very useful method of healing to heal you from inside out, to heal you at an energetic level. The life Tron healing, essentially, in a nutshell, is this device I've created, and it is placed in the Himalayas. It harnesses a life energy particle that is called life Tron, and it transmits this particle to any living being anywhere on the planet. And I've got a short video on my website which explains in very brief way how this works. But the core principle behind this is that it is transmitting a positive energy to you 24 hours a day. Why 24? Why is 24 so important? 24 is important because we develop, our brain, the mind, the body develops in the presence of positive energy. So let's say, let me give you an example. If let's say you live in a polluted city, right? A highly polluted city will contain a lot of carbon monoxide in it. So if you live in that city, 24 hours a day, you're breathing in carbon monoxide, a poisonous gas. Now, on top of it, if you do exercise, now you're breathing in poison and also circulating in your system, what's going to happen? You're going to die much faster, right? So in that case, actually, exercise is a bad idea. It's because you're now facilitating the speedy growth of this poison in your body. So the one of the most important things is to live in a presence of positivity, positive energy. And unfortunately, many of us have grown in very negative environments. That's how the child's brain develops, the mind develops, the body develops. In lack of love, lack of positive energy, your body develops like that. For many, many years of my life, my development was completely uh, distorted because of being constantly in the presence of this horrific person called my mother. Okay, so to reverse that damage, to be in a positive, to be in a positive energy, so that we can start to develop properly, this is one of the most important tools. And I developed it for my own self actually, but I found it to be very useful for people around the world. We are carrying negative patterns from lifetimes, and to release that and heal ourselves from all that negativity, being in a positive vibrational energy becomes very useful, very helpful. And there are many people who are still stuck in a very negative environment because they cannot help it right now. Like, for example, when I started doing this, I was still stuck with my ex-wife, who was just like my mother. So I was stuck in that negative environment. Now what do I do? How much of how can I counteract that negativity from my ex-wife by being in her presence 24 hours? What can I do? I cannot meditate 24 hours, right? I can meditate only so much. So this tool was very useful for me to change the environment that was in, as I was in, so that I can start to become more and more positive. My body and mind can start to growing in a positive way. That's where this life Tron healing really shines. And as you grow emotionally, physically, mentally, then you have the courage to break away from that negativity that you were in before. So, but that growth is required. We need to water our plant with positive energy so that we can grow to a point where we can break free from it. Okay, personal sessions are also, many of you have had personal sessions with me, are very useful because in a single session, many times, I can help you understand what is keeping you stuck. Sometimes there are simple patterns that we are unaware of that are keeping us stuck, but once they come to consciousness, they heal very rapidly. Now, that realization of what is keeping you stuck requires some assistance. And of course, you need to have grown to some degree in your own spiritual growth so you can realize what is keeping you stuck. So it's very helpful sometimes to come into that presence, my presence of the energetic presence as well as wisdom presence, to see what's going on. Now, this chart, many of you have probably already seen. This was created by David Hawkins, who wrote the book Power of Now. No, sorry. What was that book called? Power versus Force. It's a nice book. He gives these levels of consciousness. And this is not, of course, by any means a perfect way of measuring our progress. But over time, you can measure your progress through this chart at a broad level. Don't get too much into nitty-gritty details here. And don't look at it every day. You look at it once in 3 months, let's say. And you'll find that you're resonating. While we are like multifaceted people and we have aspects of our own self that are spread across the spectrum, but you will see that at a given point in time, you resonate with one more than the others. Okay, so pick one of these levels once in 3 months and see where you are by and large resonating with at a given time. And you will see as you're growing, as you're healing, as you're in the presence of life, Tron, as you're doing your self-work, as you're meditating, you're eating right, doing the right things, you're moving up the scale fairly rapidly. And I can see myself have grown a lot in a relatively short period of time. And again, initially the growth is slower and then it speeds up. It's this is not linear. He talks in his book as well, this scale is not linear. So the energetic difference between the level of shame versus guilt, it is only 10 in this case, but it is 10 to the power 20 and 10 to the power 30 kind of thing difference, is an exponential change. The value difference between 10 to the power 20 versus 10 to the power 30 is huge. Try it on your calculator sometime. The enormous change. And 10 to the power 20 versus 10 to the power, even the level of neutrality or willingness is mind-boggling number. So even though you may feel that, okay, you moved from shame to guilt or grief, that, oh my God, I've just gone from 20 to 75 or 50, energetically, you've grown tremendously from the level of shame to grief or fear. So have courage, have faith, keep moving, and you can grow a lot in a fairly short period of time. Okay, that's far as the presentation goes. But now let's take some examples and do some work here, if you guys are open to it, and see how it applies to you. So let's look at this choice slide. Would anybody be willing to share their example on how they can relate if you were able to see how a case of good or a case of bad choice that you made and how it affected your life? If you can share, that'll be wonderful. Or I can share myself a few more examples of mine, but I'll prefer if somebody else shares. So anybody, you can unmute yourself and share your experience. Anyone? It's going to be helpful for you to absorb this material if you share it. But of course, I'll leave it to you. Just unmute yourself. I think you can unmute yourself.
Okay, I'll share one.
Okay, who's this?
Hi, Sanjay and everyone. This is Alejandra.
Hi, Alejandra. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for this wonderful offering.
Mm-hmm.
I can see very clearly about all my choices in this lifetime, and even the ones that I made that were not so-called positive, there was use in even that, you know. And so, I mean, my choice to put myself through school and get an education, and then end up doing what I did for a long time and loving that was a good choice.
Nice.
And that was in alignment. That was in alignment with my soul path. And then my choice to marry someone that I didn't take the time to. I think it's really wise to go slow there. And but in that experience, you know, I learned a lot, and it was difficult. It was painful, but through that experience, it was a great teaching. Not that I want to go that route again, but I could see how I wasn't in my, I'll just say, in my divine essence when I made that choice, but it still got used for my growth and evolution. And all in all, through the decades, it's brought me to this moment, which I'm very, very grateful for. And that is a moment where I'm basically choosing to live in divine resonance. So
Excellent.
from this
Excellent.
point, yeah. So
Excellent.
from this point,
Sorry.
yeah. No, that's okay. Anyway, I'm just saying that now there's just this graceful flow and much more clarity and patience and so I just know that it will continue to go well.
Very nice. Very nice. You brought up a very good point, and I would like to highlight that. So even the failure, it was actually good for you in that sense, right? So
Yes.
the point that the point is that instead of blaming somebody else for that problem, you took ownership for it. And that's the
Yes.
critical part. That's the critical part, is taking ownership. And this is the slide I was talking about, is the mind part of it. That you took ownership and said, okay, I made that mistake. I didn't see it clearly. And I'm willing to correct it by understanding what happened. But if you were trying to push it off on somebody else, okay, it was somebody else's fault and I didn't do anything wrong and stuff, then you would never learn from it. And then the failure or the bad choices will become actually harmful for you.
Right. Yes. Understanding was really important to me, and I was always seeking understanding and truth.
Yes. Yes. Now, very, very, very good point that you related to this mind aspect, the ownership aspect. So own it, then you can change it. Without owning it, you cannot change it. That's the point.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Thank you, Alejandra.
Great.
That was wonderful.
You're welcome. Okay.
Anyone else? So we covered these two examples here of choice.
And hi, Sanjay.
Yeah, hi, Darlene. Yes.
Yeah. I made a choice just after my father-in-law died, and you had helped me with that. Get back to divine breathing. I made a choice to do it, no matter if I do it right or wrong. Just keep practicing and practicing and practicing, and drink lots of water.
Nice.
That's
Very
the
nice.
choice I made just not long ago, and I'm just going with it because I know it serves me.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Excellent. So tell me, Darlene, and this was like what, about a month or two ago, I think your father-in-law passed away, right?
He passed away in March.
Yeah. So it's been about 2 months or 3 months, let's say, at the most.
Yeah.
So breathing is what you're saying, divine breathing, right?
Yeah, I do it twice a day. I get up in the morning, drink a bunch of water.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to be hard on myself. If I don't do it, that's fine.
Right.
And I kind of like, I put earplugs in my ears and I go with it. So, yeah, and I determined to keep going because there's nothing no more powerful than the divine within me.
Excellent. So now tell me, what change have you noticed? So basically, we are on the slide of circulation. So
What changed?
what changed in this last 2-3 months from an emotional, physical standpoint for you?
Things are lifting. I just learn, and I have to keep telling myself, be patient, be patient, be patient. The only thing I had happen just recently is athlete's foot, and I kind of think, oh, what am I doing when you said about blame there? Because my husband has it. Sure. And I kind of, it's okay. It'll go away. It's okay. I'm releasing because your body has, yeah. So I'm learning not to judge my body so much.
Nice. And
And
that circulation can help with that quite a bit, actually.
well, yeah, and I notice I feel a little lighter. I
Mm,
and I also was told not to be hard on myself. There'd be days maybe it'd be heavy, and there'd be days that it won't be. Just keep going. Just don't judge it. Just keep going and trust it. I'm learning to trust in my heart and believe in my mind.
wonderful. Your
And I was,
your energy feels much lighter today than the last time I talked to you.
oh yeah, yeah. It's just a figure expression. It felt like I've been in hell and back. You know what I
Mm,
mean?
mm.
And so, but I just know I have to keep going, even
Yes.
though just keep going, just keep going. It'll happen. It'll happen. Just keep practicing. And I was told the more I practice, and we have to work at it. You're right. We have to work at it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah. So
Wonderful. Wonderful. Oh my gosh. I'm so happy to hear this.
well, I'm not here to please anybody. Just let anybody know I'm doing it for me.
Of course. Of
I
course.
come first. Me come first, and I was told I put myself on the shelf too long, and I'm doing this for me, and I for me.
Of course. Of course. That's all it is about you. Well,
Yeah,
well, you're
I,
creating the universe. There is nobody else.
well, and not just that, Sanjay. I learned that it's some people think it's selfish if you think of you first, but that's not true. That's not
Right.
true. You
And
have to come first.
correct. And that's also a choice, Charlene. We
Yeah.
we make a choice that other people come before us, and that's a wrong choice.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to
I'm,
make a choice to put ourselves first.
yeah. And oh, I thank you about children. Uh, to do with children's energy, cutting ties and sending them love. Thank you for that.
Mm,
I had to
nice,
use that just recently.
nice,
and
nice.
it's not, sometimes it's not easy because you're a mom, eh?
Right, right, right. Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful, Darlene. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This is great. Awesome. Okay. Anyone else want to share anything? Any other experience or question? Any questions is great. Clarifications.
Hi, Sanjay. It's Francine.
Hey, Francine.
Hey. Um, are you looking for something about circulation particularly,
No,
or?
no, no, no. Anything. Any questions or anything, any thoughts that come to your mind through the presentation? Anything.
Okay. Um, so after your last presentation, I began to set some really strong boundaries with my mother,
Okay.
and she passed away.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was, I mean, we knew she was ill, but she went very fast, and it was definitely connected with my boundaries, and now I'm experiencing a lot of guilt and a lot of regret and a
Mm,
confusion about it all, you know, because it's one thing when they're alive, then that you can sort of have all these feelings about their behaviors, but then when they're gone, it's like it's easy to forget all the bad stuff and remember the good things and then feel guilty. It's just yeah.
well, okay.
I'm
So,
sorry, maybe I shouldn't have brought this up on here.
sorry.
Maybe I shouldn't have brought this up on the call here.
No, 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 no. Oh, perfectly fine, Francine. No, actually, you brought up a good point, actually. So, so if I may share this, this measuring system.
Mm-hmm.
So you were on the scale of shame before, okay? Before, so this was about a month ago. Was it like you're talking about the last webinar, right?
Yeah,
So that was a
yeah.
month ago.
Well, she
Wow.
passed away on April 29th.
April 29th. Okay, so yeah, or maybe you were talking about the first one I did in March, possibly.
Yeah, I don't remember, but it was we
Yeah.
had talked. And yeah, it was yeah.
No, I'm glad you brought this up, Francine, because you're bringing quite a few important things here. First is that you were taking on the energy of your mother a lot, right?
Yeah. Yes. It
And
was actually, I had a feeling like I was dying
yeah, of course.
because I was being drained.
Of course. The last time I talked to you on the phone, you were in a really bad state. Okay,
You remember that?
yeah, I remember that. I remember talking to you, and I remember you were in a really bad state at that time. And what you did was wonderful. So you're basically put the boundaries and said, Mom, this is not mine. I'm not taking this from you.
Yeah.
Okay. So you put that boundary around you and you gave the energy back to her.
Yes.
And what was killing you eventually killed her. Now, bear with me. I'm not saying this in a negative way. Okay.
No, I understand.
So it saved your life, literally saved your life. What you did saved your life. Okay, number one. Number two, it saved her life. And the reason I'm saying it saved her life is because she needed to take that energy back so that she can heal from it. All this time she was throwing it at you, she was throwing the garbage at you, which was killing you and killing her in a different way.
What do
So
you
when
mean
she picked up the energy back, she had to process it, and that freed her to move on to the next plane. So you actually give her life. So no guilt required. You gave her life, a better life. She was not happy when she was here, Francine.
Yeah, I know.
She actually wanted to leave, and she couldn't leave because her part of her energy system wasn't with her. She can only leave when she's integrated all of that.
Why is it so hard for me to understand all this?
It's complicated, Francine. It's complicated.
Could I offer something too? Could I make a comment, Sanjay and Francine? This is Alejandra.
Hi, Alejandra.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is Alejandra. Yeah, just listening and thank you so much for sharing, both of you. But while I'm sitting here, also listening, what I feel compelled to say is, just know that your mother was able to let go quickly because you finally stood in your power, and in a sense,
Hello?
and when you could finally do that, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear? Yeah?
You cut out a little bit there, Alejandra.
That's okay. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. But what I was feeling was that on some level, once you could stand in your power and have a healthy boundary, that enabled her to let go.
Yes.
So by you being true to yourself, she could finally let go. In a way, she was waiting for you to do that.
But that's on a soul level. On a personality level, she didn't want to go. She was making all these plans for her life.
Not
Right,
necessarily true, Francine. Not necessarily true. She may be making it up in her mind.
Yeah.
But at a deeper level, she was wanting to leave. Or maybe not wanting to leave, but she wanted to heal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, definitely.
Yeah, she did want
that was a gift to her. Just know that was a gift to your mother, even though it may not make sense, logically. On a deeper level, it definitely was what she needed. So I hope that brings you peace.
Well, I mean, I really appreciate what you're saying. It's just, I don't know why, because before she passed, I was very clear, like, this has to end. Like, this pattern that we're in has to end. And then when she died, now I'm just like so confused, and I can't see the bigger picture. I'm just really caught up in the grief.
It's okay. It's okay, Francine.
Yeah.
See, even if you look at this scale, you were at 20 before, right? Now, even if you're at guilt, it's a huge improvement.
Yeah, I guess so.
Sanjay,
Mhm.
it's Darlene here. You remember it kind of reminds me what I went through with my father-in-law.
Mhm. Mhm.
Remember he was dying, but he
Right.
wouldn't let go because there was unfinished business between him and I.
Right, that's true.
And I had to forgive myself and forgive him, basically. And I hope that helps her because you worked me through that, remember?
Yeah.
And then afterwards, I didn't see him, and then finally I got in my car because I felt this pull of energy. Went and seen him, and I told him, and I cried, kissed on his forehead, and I says, "I'm so sorry that I hurt you," and I said everything else, and also I asked him if he forgave me, and he squeezed my hand, and that was like that helped a lot.
Sure.
And there's one other incident with my dad due with cancer, my other dad. And of course he's well right now. He's really well, healthy. Um, I used your boundaries, okay, and I kind of like, okay, these two are fighting. I'm come to visit, and I kind of like, I don't need this. I told him, you got company this afternoon, and are you gonna be like this in front of your company? Firstly, I'm gonna go home,
Mm.
and
Good.
the energy changed. I'm just giving her two examples. I'm still working on my own energy, but
Sure.
yeah, my heart goes out to you, and but I believe in my heart what I'm thinking of. She would have to work in a spiritual level. Am I right, Sanjay, to let that go?
Absolutely, absolutely. And Francine, if you want to work with me, set up a session with me.
Mhm,
I can walk you through this some of this guild stuff.
mhm.
It's not complicated. This stuff is just something simple stuck in your consciousness that needs to be worked through, and it
Okay.
shouldn't be too hard. So
Okay.
we'll work through this. We'll work through this. Okay?
Thank you.
Yeah.
And thank you for sharing, Francine.
Thank you.
Right. Wonderful sharing. Wonderful sharing. Yeah, and somebody wants my previous webinars, like the two previous workshops. Let me know. I can send those to you as well, because they are very helpful in especially the topics of boundaries and stuff. Boundaries is a very big deal. Boundaries are a very big deal. So I talk about boundaries as one of them.
Sanjay, in the one webinar, this is Darlene again. Can we do a group healing, like energy or
Okay,
something?
okay, very good. Nice, nice. Let's do
I
that.
loved it.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. We'll do it. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do a um, 5 minutes meditation and stuff. Okay. Okay. So
Thank you.
yeah, yeah. You're most welcome. A good idea. Okay. So my favorite meditation is the golden
Option.
sorry.
Sorry, this is Alejandra. May I make one more comment?
Mm-hmm, sure.
Yeah. Just another thing that when people are in transition, and this is true for most of humanity, the strongest urge in all of us, unless we've done a lot of work, which, we're kind of on that alignment, there's this self-preservation. So I'm just saying that your mother, of course, on that level, was trying to hang on. Most people are terrified of letting go. I work with a lot of dying people, and so just keeping that in mind on the physical level, on the level of appearance, she was hanging on, but and there's so much more at play. So maybe that'll help you too, to remember that.
Thank you, Alejandra. I really appreciate your input.
Wonderful.
You're so welcome. So welcome.
Okay. Now that's true. The soul level healing is far more important than the physical or mental level healing. So that's the point that Alejandra is making. So the soul was healed, and she transitioned to a new plane of existence, which is what her soul wanted.
Yeah, I think it would help if I understood, because I'm trying to feel into her, and I'm having a a hard time, but I think she's in a healing process now.
Mm-hmm.
So,
You just give it some time, and if you want to talk to me, this is not too complicated. We can put your mind to rest. Okay.
okay. Sounds
All
good.
right. Take care. Okay. So my most favorite meditation is the golden ball of light meditation. So I'm going to do that one. So just sit straight, spine straight, close your eyes, and open your inner awareness. Now imagine a golden ball of light, the size of a golf ball, 6 inches above the crown of your head. And this ball is very real. It is being placed and created right now, right here. Feel its presence. It's a very real energy. It's not just imagination. Now feel this golden ball of light descending towards the crown of your head. And slowly entering the crown chakra. And feel this golden ball of light, which is essentially grace energy. Filling the chakra with beautiful healing energy that is transmuting any darkness, any negativity there into light. You can let go of any negativity, let the golden ball of light pick it up and transmute it and fill you up with beautiful light, beautiful energy. Feel it. Feel it. Now let the ball again descend from the crown chakra to your third eye chakra. Do the same thing. Release any negativity, any darkness. Let the golden ball of light transmute it, fill it up with beautiful energy, healing light, so that it brings clarity to you of who you really are, so you can see yourself. Let it descend again, going to your throat chakra. Same thing. Let it fill up the chakra with beautiful light and love and energy. Feel it. Let it now descend to your heart chakra. Do the same thing. Feel the ball of light filling your heart chakra up with beautiful light. Feel it. Go down further to your third chakra. This is where all the emotions are stored. Let it fill up your third chakra with beautiful, kind, loving light to heal all emotions that you may be carrying, any negative emotions, and transmuting and making this chakra completely clean and filled with beautiful emotions and feelings. Go down to the second chakra. Let it fill you up with beautiful light. Go down to the first chakra, your root chakra, which is essential for your existence. Let it fill you up with everything that you need to exist on this planet well. Let it fill it up with beautiful light, healing light, kind, gentle, caring, loving. Feel it, feel it, feel it. Feel it filling you up. Feel it filling you up, transmuting any negativity into positive energy. Feel the light, see the light in your root chakra. Now going back up again, going from the first to the second, do the same thing. See it, feel it. Feel the light, see the light. From second to the third, feel it, see it. Third to the fourth, your heart chakra. See it, feel it. Feel the energy in your heart. Fourth to the fifth, the throat chakra. Feel it, see it, feel it. Fifth to the sixth, see it, feel it. Seventh chakra, see it, feel it. Feel the divine connection. Now let the ball of light go back up into the sky where it came from. Just giving your thanks and gratitude for doing the work for you, healing your body, mind, spirit. Take a moment to thank it. Now take a moment to experience the peace and the joy and the freedom and the lightness you feel at this time. There's a very distinctive feeling to this energy that you will be feeling right now. Awesome. When you guys are ready, just gently open your eyes and be in the present place, present moment. Awesome. Does anybody want to share their experience with the meditation? Whenever you're ready, if you want to share.
Hi, Sanjay, it's Francine.
Hey, Francine.
Hey, had a good cry there.
That's good. Nice. Very nice. Very nice. Feel lighter?
Yeah, much lighter, and the sun came out.
Very nice.
A real sun.
Glad to hear that.
Thank you.
Okay. So I'll call it a day. If you guys have any questions or anything, let me know. But hey, Janice, do you have a question or you want to share
Yes.
something?
Yeah, mine is more about the anxiety. I mean, that's sort of why I came here, and I have done all of these things that you say. And you know, I came to your program just to see if there might. I've tried so many things,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, really high vibration things and diet, everything on your list.
Sure.
And
Sure.
yet this issue that I have with anxiety, particularly now with my workplace, you know, it's just like over the top for me.
Okay.
So I don't know what else to do, and I guess I have a question. I mean, you know, so I'm still searching for that, and also whether, you know, I mean, I know that I can get rid of it, because at first I thought maybe it's just not possible, but then, you know, I've read about people that
So,
have, you know, you say,
Janice, can I stop you for a second?
yes.
Okay, so let's do, I'm very glad that you brought this up. Okay, so let's do some real quick thing here. And then you can ask me the rest of the question. Is that okay?
Okay.
Okay. So, no, actually, Janice, you keep yourself unmuted. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So check it. So like I was talking in the choice section, I want you to rewind the tape of your consciousness, of your energetic system, and check when did you make the choice of picking anxiety. Anxiety is also a choice.
Yeah, I don't remember. I just know when I have it that I have a lot of tools, and I use the tools, and yet, you know, and hoping that through all these different practices, it's going to transmute, because I've had that experience with other things, yet the thought, it still comes back. So
That anxiety will not go completely until you have changed your choice. So remember, anything in your experience, anything whatsoever, is a choice you made at some point.
Well, I do know that when I hear my boss say, I'm going to be taking over the entire program, and I have no other support, and it used to be 5 people and I'm the only one, that's when the anxiety, that gives me anxiety, or I'm choosing that way.
Yeah, no, but remember, what happens is, typically what happens is we choose the anxiety or any other thing very early in life. Like I'm talking about before the age of 2, 3, 4, something like that.
Yeah.
So in your case, what I'm sensing is you picked up anxiety around the age of 3-ish, 2 to 3, somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, I don't have any conscious awareness of when I did, because, you know, I had it for so long. I know it's in my family, etc. So
Correct.
Yeah.
No, so just hang on with me. So so between the age of 2 and 3, what I'm sensing is you picked up anxiety, and until you change the choice, it'll sort of keep hounding you. So it's not about healing the anxiety itself, you've got to heal the choice itself. Okay. Now, you will not have a conscious awareness, but you will have an energetic imprint that I did make a choice, and that's what I'm looking for. can you see energetically that you did make a choice of picking up anxiety? For what reason? We can investigate that, and it's very helpful to understand why you picked that up. But it's a choice. What is most important is to accept, own that I did pick it up.
Yeah, I've done that. I've taken my responsibility and everything, and done all sorts of things. I assume it. I still don't, remember it. I must have chosen it. I accept that.
Okay, so let me help you. So I'm going to ask the question to the higher self. Okay, why did Janice pick up anxiety? Why did she choose anxiety? So the initial answer I'm getting is because to protect yourself. Protect yourself from what? How was your mother? What was going on with your mother initially?
I don't have any.
No, did you have a difficult relationship with your mother, or?
No, I mean not really. She was dominated by my dad. My dad was the difficult
Okay,
relationship.
that was a difficult one. Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I feel that it's amazing. You talk about narcissistic. Different therapists have said he was sadistic. So that's totally healed at this point. Yeah.
Okay. So we can do some more self work and we can do more investigation on this. What I'm getting is because your dad was such narcissistic, the mother used anxiety as a protective mechanism, and you picked it up from your mom.
It's so strange. She doesn't seem at all anxious.
Well, is it the same? Like, she may have changed. Is she like much older now? What age is she at?
87.
Yeah, so maybe she outgrown it. But initially, when the father was there in her life, she might have picked that up based on. So at that time, she may have been very anxious because of the father, and because of the ancestral pattern, you picked it up from her as a choice. That okay, I'm going to support my mother by picking up some of her load of anxiety. That's my guess for now. We can do some more work, but you have to. The important thing is to say that I picked it up for a reason, and if you can understand that reason, that'll be great. And you can say that I don't need that anymore. I'm changing the choice of anxiety into peace. I can change my mind. I picked up that for a reason, and I'm changing that. Like when you go to the mall to shop and you change your mind a couple of times, yeah.
Right.
Just like that, you can change your mind.
Yeah. I feel like I've already done. I mean, I've already with other healers. I said I'm responsible for it, and it hasn't dissipated. So, whereas I've had experiences with other things dissipating, but not this.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all.
Keep working, and this is not too complicated, though. It can be worked out. Okay, that's just my. So choice is what I was trying to show you, and see if you can investigate from a deeper choice perspective. You will find a correlation, and we can work on it separately. I don't want to spend too much time here, but we can work on it separately. Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right. No, thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. It's an important one. Okay, guys. I had a good time talking, and thank you for sharing. And until next time, this is a monthly call I'm doing. So if you've purchased it once, you'll have access for it for the next whole year. Wonderful, guys. Thank you. Much love. Bye-bye.